This is how Discord or Twitch always is. All right, so welcome to episode 9 of the Beat of Esports. We have a good friend of ours, the founder and CEO, Bryan from GamerAdvantage. Welcome, Bryan. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. So I know you said this before the podcast, but the first thing we always got to ask is how'd you get into esports and what were you doing before this? Like, what kind of like overall and just like led up to you wanting to jump into esports?
Well, like most people you probably talk to, a game my whole life. I think my first ever, Atari, go back to Atari bowling. Like I can remember those days, but it's probably really when I was around 10, Nintendo 64. Like that's where I have most of my memories. So forever a gamer, always part of the community. About 15 years ago, I was an intern at a radio station, turned into getting a job there
Nice.
full time, and I actually landed a spot on the first ever FM video game radio show out of Detroit.
That's
That was
awesome.
pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I the station flip format, so one of the hosts' contract was up and left, and I got the spot as co-host. I actually did it for a few years, but eventually it was the opinion of the management that video games were stupid and had no place on the radio. So it was a pretty sad moment when the show was discontinued, even though it was successful both financially and popularly, from all the Nielsen ratings and things, we were doing well. They
Yeah.
just didn't think it was a fit to have video games on a sports station, which is like now sounds
Yeah. Now.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy talk.
And you can't.
So
Yeah. Sorry. Keep
go
going.
ahead. Oh,
No.
okay. So yeah, so I went from radio, and that was a lot of fun, but it was just not, creating content was much different back then than it is now.
Of
You just
course.
couldn't get the views and do that. You had to work a little harder because it was a lot more organic versus kind of blowing up on social media 15 years ago. It
It's
wasn't
tough.
people's primary source of communication.
Hmm.
So I got not a real job. I hate saying it like that because it's not a real job. I got a corporate job, is what I mean, and I worked in banking for the next 7.5 years,
Ooh.
and it was great. And I found a real calling helping people with their credit and loans, and I found my sweet spot was small business banking, and I loved meeting businesses. And you go in and you have no idea what they do, and you learn all about it, and you meet the person who makes the conveyor belts that takes chicken poop out of the chicken coop. Like that's what they do, and it's a $25 million business. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I always had that kind of burning entrepreneurial spirit. Fast forward, I meet my wife. We have a kid. Her family's been selling eyewear to eye doctors for the last 50 years. I get an opportunity for a promotion at the bank, but it would require me to relocate. She didn't want to leave the family business, so I said, okay, then hire me there. Like, we either move or I come work with you. So I know it
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but my wife and I work very well together, and so I joined the family business like 4 years ago.
Nice.
And that's where the conversation of optical and clickbait, blue light, and all that crap started, because I was inundated with people requesting me to make blue light glasses for them, and they were just
Hmm.
garbage. And I was doing it, and I couldn't live with it anymore, so I started my own.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. That's cool. I'm curious, when you were on the radio, was that before or after ESPN started their esports department or started posting more esports content?
Before.
Before.
So this
Okay.
was CBS, and this was, you can look at the station flip. 97.1
Hmm.
was one of the last top 10 market talk stations in the country, and that's where I started. And so I was an intern on a talk. It was all talk shows. I ran the board for the Detroit version of Opie and Anthony, and I used to run the board for things like Loveline with Dr. Drew and Tom Likas, and like things, these old like really monster radio shows. And talk radio just died with the introduction of like kind of content specific, industry specific podcasting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they flipped to sports. It was one of the most successful FM sports flips ever. And when 97.1 became the ticket, the manager of it was in his late 70s, and this is what he did. He made FM market or FM sports stations in big markets. That was his job.
Mhm.
And he didn't think video games were an appropriate fit for that station. And so, again, although we were successful,
He just didn't
it's
see it
crazy
then.
to
He
think
just
that we
didn't.
were on a
Yeah.
sports station. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's the craziest part, is they
Way
would have
before
like,
the time too.
yeah, it could have been revolutionary. I'm
Like,
still watching media groups struggle to figure out how to activate esports on terrestrial radio.
yeah. So what do you think would activate it? What do you think these companies and these, I don't know if you want to give out free knowledge, but what do you think these radio shows should be doing to really promote it? And we talked about this before, actually, Connor. Remember we said we don't think esports should really be on like ESPN and stuff like that because the viewership will always be to Twitch. You know what I mean? So like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, what do you think really should be happening? Like, because it's just tough. Like football, you can listen to on the radio and understand what's going on, but like esports, if I'm listening to like just for example, like Fortnite, there's 100 guys out there. Like I don't, what am I actually listening? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think there's an acclamation to it. So first of all, I feel like ESPN's placating esports. It's like, the commentators are making jokes about it.
yeah,
It's always like kind of like the laughing stock. Like they're
Yeah.
like really like
Mhm.
this like video game. Like, well, I guess if you can make $1 million playing Fortnite, why would I play basketball? Ha 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 ha. And it's
Yeah.
like, shut the hell up.
It's so
Like that's
annoying.
not.
Mhm.
So I think it's really disrespectful. I think they're ignoring the fact that the people who are consumers of a lot of this sports content are also gamers in a very large part.
Mhm.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, the affinity with ESPN has drifted off big time because they're ignoring kind of their brand position, which is like now you're offending me, and that
Yeah.
and I don't that's not cool,
It's
right? As far as
ridiculous.
gaming goes,
Yeah.
so I think it's an acclamation to a sports station is the perfect spot for a terrestrial esports broadcast because it fits in so nicely to what everybody else is there for. So if I'm somebody who I'm in my mid 30s or early 40s and I'm into football and I'm into basketball, I would also be interested in hearing, how much did Ninja make last year streaming?
Right.
What are happening with the teams? Where are they being franchised? How much does it cost to get into the Call of Duty league?
Yeah.
Like how many games do they play in Overwatch in a tournament? Like all that stuff is relevant and interesting because it follows the same parameters as traditional sports.
Mhm.
We're jumping into these like niche like one pop broadcast, and you can't do it in 5 minutes, and you don't need an entire station dedicated to it for
Right.
that market. You need to acclimate them to, hey, Bucks won tonight and TSM won tonight,
Yeah.
and the same broadcast.
Mhm.
That's
like,
that's
slowly
where
putting it
give
into
it the
people's
same
minds, yeah.
respect. Yeah,
Mhm.
the same respect, the same level as you would any other pro sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that actually makes perfect sense because, like, I mean, I don't want to say it's like, yeah, because I mean, you gotta respect it because if you're at the end of the day, if you're not gonna show respect to it, like you said, like, people are still like quote unquote like making fun of esports and stuff like that, and that's been going on forever, and as far as I can remember too, because like when I was younger, like esports was like not the cool thing, like you making videos on YouTube doing that whole ordeal and like people just like never respected it. So hopefully I mean it's definitely going in the right direction, I think. But
Yeah. I mean, to your point, I know you were talking before more about play-by-play stuff. That's actually, I feel like I'm a unique audience in that perspective because, like, if I could get esports on the radio, I would actually listen to it for me. Because especially before I was the CarterPulse, I was working full time in accounting. The great thing about accounting is nobody really keeps an eye on you or cares what you do because as long as the stuff's getting entered, the invoices are sent out, the bills are being paid, then you're fine. You don't need constant monitoring. And so there was one job where they gave me 2 monitors to start out with. I made sure I got a third one and I put it behind the cabinet so I could have it up all day watching whatever stream or YouTube video I wanted. Nobody checked. I did that for a year. And as I went on to the next job, I wasn't able to do that because I had a shared office and it's like, yeah, you're going to get some grief for that. So I would have one earbud in and my phone upside down on the table all day, either watching or listening. I would try to set a playlist beforehand so it could autoplay, but it would torch my battery because Twitch at the time I wasn't able to play it with my phone being like asleep or silent or whatever, just turned off, and it wouldn't play. So I'd have to leave it open, my phone upside down. I would torch through my battery in the first like 30 40 minutes. And the issue that I felt, it was like everything they're talking about is going on, right? And so I have to like peek at my phone to try and catch it, and they're not talking about the score lines. I think there is a space for esports, maybe live commentary or just an additional one on a feed that is more suited towards radio or just the non-watching audience. So like if I'm driving in a car and I can't watch the LCS games on a Saturday, I still want to know what's going on. I can't watch it while I'm driving, obviously, because that's not safe. So the best like option I have is to get like YouTube Premium so I can watch it with my phone or listen to it with my phone asleep, and that's the best I get. And nothing that's going on is really set towards the audio listener, and so you're missing out on a lot. I think podcasts do a great job of that, because I don't know many podcasts where you really need to watch them. But as far as like live updates and scores and matches, or really what's going on, maybe I want to listen to a live feed, or the LCS Championship or Fortnite World Cup's going on. I still want to know what's going on. I'm going to miss out a lot because I can't watch it, but it would still be nice to get those updates in the audio format. I'm not sure how much of an audience there is for it, but I feel like especially down the line, there is going to be a demand for it in one way or another for people that aren't able to watch it but still want to listen to it, and not have to miss out on everything, or have to check their phone every 2 minutes to see what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's two pieces. So you are still an extreme fan, right? You're talking about watching LCS, and because you can't watch it, getting the audio, right? So the radio station is going to argue like, well, you're not our customer, because our customer watches football and baseball and basketball too. And while I agree with you, that's where podcasting is awesome, because at any point you can be at work, pop in your earbuds, start a podcast, pause it, go back, and you can take terrestrial radio shows, turn them into podcasts, and release them. Everybody does it, right? Mm-hmm. The part we miss in terrestrial radio that everybody loves is the live interaction. It's the Periscope program that they had where you could see them live in studio while they're on the air. It's the phone calls into the studio. So if you're going to do a radio show around esports, it has to be broad enough where no matter who tunes in, yes, what is going on with LCS? It's at freaking Little Caesars in downtown Detroit right now. Did you even know? Like, not right now, but it was, Like, did you even know that? Like, nobody was talking about that. And if they were, it was in like such passing. And you're like, you have no idea how big Riot is and how big this event is that's happening in your city right now. It's billions of dollars. And you're like, video game, and then you go home and play Call of Duty. So like, if we bring it in a way that's like super professional, not mocked, like it gets mocked right now by all the kind of traditional sportscasters, that's how I see it. Play-by-play is like very platform specific, right? Because if it's live, then you're right. It's like audio on Twitch. Would be cool to get just audio on play-by-play, but like there isn't probably a big enough market to have one channel do LCS and another channel do R6 and another channel do Overwatch and another, you're right. But that's what the radio misses, is the live interaction. That's why Twitch is killing it, because I can be in somebody's stream and I can say something and they see me and they interact with me and I can tip, and I can't do any of that right now with traditional radio esports programming.
Yeah. No, and I think that's interesting, especially talking about like the live chat function with it. Allegedly, one of my buddies was using a third-party website to watch UFC over the weekend. And the cool thing they kept talking about was the chat function, where obviously they're not watching it in the traditional format because ESPN Plus doesn't have a live chat option. But somehow the website he was using a Twitch chat function.
Twitch.
It was literally a Twitch chat with the Twitch usernames, emotes, and everything, and we were getting live reactions of the UFC match while it was going on. I think that'd be something really cool and relatively simple to add. And I know, especially with stuff like the NFL, there is a lot of online audience when it comes to the international aspect, because they're not bound by the TV restrictions and all of those rights, where you could get a VPN and remote to some country in Europe and get an NFL pass for like $125 and watch every single game, literally all of them, the entire year. It's cheaper than doing it here, and if you integrate a chat function into that, you could be talking with people literally around the world about football and what's going on at the time being. I think it'd be really cool if they added some sort of format like that. I think
it would make sense.
I think it'd be cool. I think especially when you get like the Thursday night football on Twitch with like their partnership with Amazon, and getting to watch like your favorite streamers do co-streams with like the Cowboys games, like when Tim the Tatman did that. I thought that was really, really cool. I think that there's a big demand for it, and it would go very, very well. But I think there's a lot of people that are higher up that don't see the vision there, most likely because they're too old and out of touch with the growing audience, which is likely why they're struggling to meet the, demands for viewership when it comes to the younger audience. There's less and less people of my age that are really interested in football or professional sports anymore.
Because they're not engaging with you. I couldn't agree more. So, all right, no more free advice.
Yeah, we got to cut that out. So you kind of actually jumped or touched on it a little bit. I lost. Hold on. Oh yeah. So what's one common myth in esports? So we talked about this a little bit. That's why I want to bring this up now. What's one common myth in esports that you'd love to just like debunk and be like, dude, come on, like this is the future. Like stop staying in these ways. Like you kind of mentioned it already, but what's one thing that really like just is like ridiculous and you're just like, come on.
I mean, of course, there's the business side of it that is just like so arrogant that you think you can copy and paste what you've done in all these other traditional platforms and not have to do it differently and accommodate what is its own sport and its own process. So that's like a big one, right? Specific to me, it's that gaming isn't bad for you, right? I'm going to say it like that simple. Like playing football is bad for you. It's also good for you, but it's bad for you too because you run these risks of all these things. So I think when I say bad for you, I mean more in the way of that it's not without risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could potentially be bad for you if you don't take the right steps to protecting yourself.
Right.
Boxing has shown forever, without a doubt, to be bad for you. There is no doubt that getting punched in the head repeatedly over and over and over is not good for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I, without a doubt, know for absolute certain, 100% fact, that the amount of time you're spending on the screen is bad for you. And I also know for a fact that what we have can help with that, and it's not rooted in clickbait, placating,
Right.
behind a brand,
Right.
marketing. That's not who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Right.
for someone that's like starting out gaming and like jumping into it now or just getting into the scene, what would you like recommend in that aspect as far as that goes?
I mean, gaming, no sport is without its afflictions, right? So if you play basketball for 30 years, you're going to have bad knees. It's
Right.
really, really hard to avoid that. So gaming has all those proper like posture and then stiffness. And like, I worked at the bank for 7 years. They were talking about banker's posture. Banker's posture is just gamer's posture. It's like this. It's bad for you, but it's hard to sit like I'm sitting and get in on a game, right? So you're just accepting that what you're doing is the sacrifice is worth the reward. So if you sit like this against your monitor and you game like right in the screen like this, that is, you are going to have back problems. That might be okay because you're trying to achieve this really great thing and you work out and you're doing the best you can to avoid them, but you understand it goes with the job. Your eyes are no different. We aren't talking about digital eye strain, really. We're not talking about like blue rays burning your eyeballs. That's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about we're awake when the sun is up, we go to sleep when the sun is down.
Yeah.
If there is no fighting that, stop it. If you work midnights and you ever went back to regular days, the next day you go back to going to sleep at night and being awake during the day. All you can do is manipulate your environment. So people who work midnights generally have room darkening blinds, right? Let's use that as an example. Prevent light from getting in. Well, if you're so immune to what blue light does, then why do you put room darkening blinds on your room? Why is that sun waking you up? Why is it bothering you? And it's because you have to manipulate your environment to be awake when you should be asleep.
Right.
There is a nanometer of blue light that is emitted from your screen that duplicates the same nanometer that comes from the sun that suppresses melatonin. Suppressed melatonin prevents good sleep. Poor sleep could prevent REM sleep. Not reaching REM sleep is one of the most serious medical conversations that's happening right now. Because poor sleep, which affects about 85% of the population, is some of the leading cause to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, mental, like depression, anxiety, things like that. So I like to put REM sleep as compared to a computer is imagine you put all this stuff on your desktop throughout the day. REM sleep is if you shut it off and when you woke up, it was all filed away in the appropriate file. Not reaching REM sleep is just barely putting your computer in sleep mode and opening it back up and all the windows are still open and everything's still open. So that stuff compounds. I mean, Mr. Esport, I know you're tired and it's okay. And I know you don't sleep well and that's okay. It's okay. It's just true. And I'm not going to ask you if you sleep well because I can already tell you don't sleep well. I've been doing this long enough to know that. And it would be even a fair guess because 9 out of 10 people aren't sleeping well. So even if I was just a gambling man, between the two of you, one of you is sleeping like shit, and my guess is
I just got back from Vegas and I'm sleeping like shit. I didn't sleep at all.
So it's like, that's where we're at, right? So if you're gonna get into gaming and you're gonna spend twice as much time on a monitor as you already do for school and work, stop ignoring what it's doing to you physically and mentally, because saying on Twitter that you feel depressed is one thing. Finding the source of your depression, which could be rooted in poor sleep and other things, is something completely different.
So
That's a much more serious conversation.
Okay, so I don't want to dive too deep, but what do you think is like? I'm genuinely curious. What do you think is the possibility of like achieving that REM sleep? Like how do you, I guess, get to that? Is what I'm
So
getting
there's
at.
a lot of factors, right? So like there's a lot of debates about how much sleep you need, all those things. So one thing we say is like if you're only going to sleep 4 or 5 hours, you want it to be the best 4 or 5 hours you ever got. So it is possible to achieve REM sleep more quickly than somebody else. Could be in 3 hours, could be in 2 hours, whatever that might be. The average person is going to take 2 to 4 hours to really prepare for bedtime. That doesn't mean you have to shut your screen off for 4 hours before you go to bed.
Right.
It just means that when the sun goes down, when that process starts of the sun setting, your body goes into like, hey, I'm getting ready to go to bed mode. So it's very achievable and was not really an issue until we invented electricity, basically.
Right.
Because we were alive with there's nothing we could do when it was dark outside except sleep. So we slept when it was dark and we worked when it was light. I mean, it's that simple. So actually, back in the day, we used to go to bed like 6:30, 7 o'clock, wake up at around 11:30, 12, maybe smoke a pipe, read a book, have a snack, go back to sleep, and wake up and start farming. So that's how long the sleep cycle was. Now we've shortened it to like this little freaking 2 hours that you're getting, and it just doesn't work. It flat out doesn't work. So it is achievable, and the reason we're so confident is our glasses are proven to do the following things. 96% increase in melatonin production in 5 days. Really super important to getting ready to go to sleep. 47% improvement in cognition. So I'm guilty of drinking caffeine, but reaction time and cognition are very different. Reaction time is how fast you do it. Cognition is the quality in which you do it. So if you're all hyped up on Red Bull and you didn't sleep and you're in a match and you turn left faster than anybody else turned left, congratulations, and you turn left the fastest, but you were supposed to turn right. And now you're dead and the match is over.
Yeah.
And that quality of decision, that being able to pinpoint the right decision and also be quick is cognition, and that comes from REM sleep. Even like working out, everybody's into exercising, working out. If you're taking protein and you're not reaching REM sleep, you should reassess your workout regimen, because not reaching REM sleep really prevents protein from synthesizing, and your body doesn't metabolize the same way, and it actually doesn't produce insulin the same way, which is why type 2 diabetics can use our glasses to help with insulin production, because the more REM sleep they reach, the better their body metabolizes and produces insulin.
Gotcha. Are you wearing the glasses all the time, like all day, to get
Always.
to reach that? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to. It is an acclimation process. We look at artificial light as all artificial light is bad. So if blue light is a gas tank, the amount of blue light you have, if we've evolved to the sun for the modern human is the last 50,000 years, but we could talk about billions of years of man on Earth, right? Okay, so if we've evolved to the point to where we have all this artificial light that is such a small piece of our existence, like 0.0000001%, that we've had this artificial light, and we're all experts that it's not going to have any impact on us. Yet it takes 10,000 years basically to mutate DNA and adapt biologically. So maybe in 10,000 years, we'll all be awake at night and sleep during the day. It's very possible that could happen. But right now, you can't avoid that. So if blue light is a gas tank, and the argument is, well, the sun emits 1,000,000 times more blue light than my monitor, my phone, the lights in my office, whatever, my argument is try and put 0.0001 more gallons of gas in your full gas tank. Tell me what happens.
Yeah.
Because it spills over and then catches on fire, or it stains your clothes, or what. It doesn't. Nothing good happens from spilling gas. So nothing good happens from oversaturating more blue light than the sun already gives you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's super interesting, and more along the lines of the myth of it. So you were talking previously about selling or just working with subpar blue light glasses, and I had an interesting addition to that was back in like 2014, 15, I kind of gauge it by Call of Duty, just because that's how I kind of go about esports. It was when like Call of Duty Ghost was out, a couple of those games, 2014, 2015, and esports was still very early on. I remember that there was this one company called No Scope Glasses. I'm not sure if you're
Yep, I
familiar
remember
with
No
them.
Scope. Yep.
But my biggest thing with them was they were giving up affiliate partnerships to everybody, so everybody had a code with them, and everybody that had the code, well, I never saw them using it, so it was starting to get saturated, which had already like gave me a negative light on them. And then when I looked at their website, they're looking for like, it was like $50-$60 for a pair of glasses. Then I go on eBay and search blue light glass, and I'm like, what? That's the same thing, but without the logo. So like, how are these guys justifying like selling their glasses for that much money when I could go on eBay and get something that, at least to me, looks the same? It's a pair of glasses with a cheap plastic frame and has like the yellow lens on it. It wasn't as nearly as advanced as some of the stuff I've seen specifically from you guys, where it's like, no, I'm not just wearing like a yellow lens on my face. This is better. It's more advanced. So for you guys, what is the difference between you guys and the other cheap $5 like blue light glass that you can get on Amazon, eBay, etc.?
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite questions. So first of all, like most of what you're seeing is people just going on Alibaba or like you said, eBay, finding a brand,
Yep.
printing their name on it. And that's what I was doing. I was buying, not Alibaba, but we were going to our manufacturers. We were saying, I need a lens and a frame for $8. I would sell it to these people for 15 or 20, and they would go out and sell it for $69.95. And where I called the timeout was when they were saying like, hey, this will cure headaches, this will improve sleep. And I'm like, wait, who told you that? And they're like, well, that's just the marketing. And I'm like, no. I'm like, we sold you this. So what happens when somebody says, hey, you said this would cure headaches and it doesn't? They're like, we're not really worried about that. I'm like, well, I am. So I made these companies sign a document that said, we never said any of this stuff happens with this lens. And I knew because the lens was worth like maybe $1.50.
Yeah.
And it's cheap plastic. It's a cheap plastic frame. It's a cheap plastic lens. That's the story. Even if you use acetate, you could still get it for cheap. Like, make no mistake, Ray-Bans cost $3 to manufacture, okay? The lens is a little bit more expensive, but make no mistake. So with our glasses, because we've been doing optical for 50 years, I said, here's the thing. I know what somebody's going to want because I'm the person who wants to buy them. That's why I want to create this, okay? So I did only started GamerAdvantage because I found the lens manufacturer. And the first thing that sets us apart is our lens is not a lens that's dipped in yellow coating and then we call it blue light. That's what's referred to as extrapolation science, what we call it. And that means somebody says if yellow blocks blue and I make this yellow, that must mean the blue it's blocking is good for you. On most websites, you will see we filter blue light at 35% at the 425th nanometer. Also a worthless statistics. Any website you see that says, hey, we have 80% transmittance at the 450th nanometer. It's a marketing tactic. Transmittance is how much light comes in the lens, not how much light is blocked. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken a lens that's been used on the medical side for years, got with the owner of the manufacturer and said, listen, this community has been getting ripped off for way too long. And if this is as serious as I understand it from these presentations you've given, I want to take your lens, I'll design the frame, and we'll take it to the industry. He's like, I don't know who you are, but that sounds amazing. And I'm not a gamer, but you sound like one. So like, let's talk. And our families came together and that's what we created. So our lens is patented. It's proprietary. It's proven. It's used in many medical applications that I cannot disclose because that's all private stuff, right? Like this technology. But all that matters is nobody else can get the lens we have for this community. It doesn't exist anywhere else. There's no other brand that has any proof that the product actually works. All they're doing is taking a lens, applying a coating to it, and calling it blue light filtering. There is no coating on our lens. We infuse it with a natural pigment, a powder, when it's in its raw form. Then we make the lens, and so it's inside the lens. So our lenses are standard as blue light lenses. They're not just cheap plastic, boop, here you go, that's blue light. They're all polycarbonate. We do full prescription. That really separates us from a lot of people. Call yourself an optical company and don't offer prescription. Get out of here. You're not an optical company. An optical company knows how to do prescription. So that's the one thing you give to, kind of to Gunner is like, well, at least they're doing prescription, right? At least they have some sense of traditional optical practices. But everybody else, HyperX, you can go put whatever lens you want in HyperX. They don't care. So how do they hold a quality
Right.
standard to their product? How can they say our glasses help you game if they have no freaking clue what lens their customers are
So
putting in?
true.
So it's so broken. It's just been novelized and abused and misrepresented for the last 10 years.
I
And I'm
almost
working really hard to change that.
And that's awesome because I almost feel like that's everything in esports right now. That's why CarterPulse jumped in the esports scene because there's very few representation with like lawyers and stuff like that and all that kind of thing, like with these guys being taken advantage of. And it's the same thing why you're doing it, and it just makes sense. It's just we're helping out and we're in the early stages of it, and it's just awesome to see. It really is. So,
And we appreciate the relationship with CarterPulse because you're just guys who get it. You just get it. And that's really easy to work with. When
Yeah.
somebody from the CarterPulse team says they're going to call me, they call me. 8 out of 10 times, it takes a month to get somebody to respond to you in this industry.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah, shared plenty of the same frustrations on mine where it's like, hey, I'll hit you back at the end of the week. You follow up with them at the end of the week. Sorry, a bunch of stuff came up, and then week after week after week. Next thing you know, it's a month, and then sooner or later they just don't respond, and they don't say why, and you have no idea what's going on, so you just have to write it off, and that's way too common of an occurrence. Similar to the more discount glasses, the yellow dipped ones. From what I've heard, at least from some of my friends and what they use for blue light stuff, or at least what I recommend to them, because asking everybody to like, hey, you should look into glasses, especially buddies that I have, like, I'm not wearing glasses, they look weird, they're not into glasses, they don't need them, whatever. They use the Windows night light. How is that different than the actual glasses? Is there a difference in the yellow light that it's, because I guess night light is changing the emitted blue light, and GamerAdvantage is obviously blocking the blue light.
Yeah, so there's a couple things. First of all, imagine, I got 2 analogies for you. Imagine the first guy who came out with shoes, invented shoes. He's like, hey, put these wooden boards on your feet and tie it with rope, and they'll really help. People are like, that's stupid. I'm not wearing that. Okay, like, that's where it all started. Sunscreen is the best analogy, though. Imagine the first guy who came out with sunscreen and said, hey, the sun is bad for you. Rub this white cream all over your body, and everybody's going to be able to see it, and it'll block you from the sun. People are like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Then we started doing it. Then we were like, wow, we do look really dumb. Then now it disappears on our skin. Now it's waterproof, and now it's SPF 75. So all those cheap blue light glasses, that's like SPF 2 that doesn't absorb into your skin. GamerAdvantage is proven clinically SPF 75, disappears, put it on once, never have to reapply it, swim in it, mountain climb, doesn't matter. Okay. Then so that, you know, like, that's kind of the overarching theme to like how stupid it feels to wear glasses, but it's just because it's new, so it feels stupid. Okay, what was the second part of the question?
That was more, how do the GamerAdvantage glasses differ, or I guess relate to the built-in blue light blocking on like the iPhone or the Windows nightlight? Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing is your monitor is not the only source of blue light, right? So if you just are applying a setting like F-Lux or night shift or whatever, you'd have to do it on all devices, and there's certain things you just can't do it on. You can't do it on your studio lights, so screw your monitor. You got studio lights in your face? Like, let's get out of here. Like, so, and then the idea that, okay, listen, I love this community, I'll die for this community, but you are such a liar if you tell me that you're actually using that when you game. And I believe that because if you ever actually tried to game with the blue light filters on your computer,
it doesn't work.
It's horrible.
It's terrible.
Play Fortnite with your blue light filter on. Like, I just call such bullshit. I believe that you have it on your phone to automatically, when it gets nighttime, to dim the screen. I believe you.
I do.
But you're telling me that on all your devices, you've activated the blue light filter all day long, and you operate and do your video editing and photo editing and streaming. You're running OBS with a blue light filter on your screen? Bullshit. Like, I call major BS. And I understand how easy it is for you to defend yourself against somebody who's trying to sell you something.
Right.
What I'm telling you is you can return it back to me, and I'll pay for you to ship it back to me if you don't love it.
It's awesome.
And I get so excited about this because we have less than a 2% return rate, so nobody knows who we are, really. I mean, we have a successful business off 0.01% of the community knowing who we are. So that's the truth. I'm like, let me send them to you. Try now, pay later, as far as I'm concerned, because I know you're gonna love them.
So I actually was thinking about this earlier. But so I meant to ask this at the beginning, but so is your wife's company the GamerAdvantage? Did it turn into that, or is it like a I guess, like a
Subconscious.
substrate, yeah, of it.
It's a great question. So it's actually, so you take the lens company and the frame company, and together they made me managing director of GamerAdvantage, which is its own company.
Okay.
So I worked at the family company. This opportunity popped up. The two families went in together on GamerAdvantage, so it's family owned. We're all like friends and very close now, so it's family owned. We didn't raise any money. There was no Kickstarter, no Shark Tank, no venture capitalists. We started it with very little money. But luckily, we had the edge already on sourcing frames, sourcing lenses. Like, we are the manufacturer of our product. I don't have to go and like reinvent the wheel here. Like, we know what makes a great optical frame. We know what the standards are. We can do. We started prescription day one. Like, that's just. You can't just start doing prescription.
No, it's not,
I mean?
not easy.
No.
So I think at the end of the day, what had happened was we used these two companies to say, let's take these resources and see if GamerAdvantage is something that's interesting to the community. And I would say TwitchCon 2019 was the absolute nail in the coffin that we were like, this is the rest of our life. Because we had a sea of people. I think we sold like $35,000, $30,000 in product at TwitchCon. Natasha and I worked the booth 10 hours a day straight, never left for lunch. Actually,
That's
one time
awesome.
she has to go to the bathroom and I told her no. And it was, you know what the cool thing was for us is like we shared an Airbnb, we barely knew each other, did it without no issue. There's no issue here at GamerAdvantage. You're never going to find something to cancel us over. You're never going to find like some hidden secret about me or about what we do. There's nothing to hide behind. Like my employees are like family to me, and I care very, very much about the product that we sell.
Yeah. That is amazing.
I get really excited about
No, I mean, I'm excited for the next TwitchCon because, I mean, if you did that in 2019, like, who knows what's going to happen. Was that just, TwitchCon's what, 3 days, right?
Yeah, I think it was 3 days.
3 day span?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was 2 days of exhibiting or 3 days, but yeah, we went all in. I mean, it was crazy.
Awesome.
And we were at 20% of like the capacity and ability we have now. Like we had no way to like take prescription orders there.
Yeah.
We were like emailing people. We were doing we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
And people were just like, wait, what? Like, oh, wait, let me understand this. And then they would try them on. They'd be like, wow. And then you'd snap the, when I do this, people were like, wait, what? Like,
what?
Yeah.
Those
So it's
are
like,
awesome.
well, if you just own one pair of glasses, I could have absolutely not done this. I did it because I was just trying to save people money who otherwise would have had to go pay for a pair of prescription sunglasses. So these are polarized. The magnet is in the clip, not the frame, so the frame's as light as frickin' possible. Like all of that thoughts I had as I created this product.
That's awesome.
That leads me to my other question, the indestructible frames. I watched the video with Drifter because I'm not an avid fan of him anymore, but back in the day, back in like Call of Duty Ghosts, Modern Warfare 3, watching all the glitch spots from like if you're in Call of Duty, you know who Drifter is, and to see him work with you guys was really, really cool and unique. And then I saw him run it over with his truck. How do those work?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's what's going to differentiate us from that $5 blue light company, right? So they're using injected plastic. So we have two different, they're patented materials, not patented by us, but patented by the company. I think both might be 3M. One of them is 3M. But so the one we use now, it's definitely bendable, right? Like I can bend this. And the key property is that it's amorphous, which means that it'll always go back until you break the stress point. It'll always go back to the shape it was, no matter how long I stand here and talk to you about this. So it'll always go right back to the frames. That's how a frame works. They're not bent at all. They don't crease. They don't bend. And then they're flat too. So they can crash all the way down. There's no, so you're not going to break these by the standard, but they're not cheap, because a lot of times, like with a watch, right? Like think about this for a second. A watch was gauged by heft forever. Now, if you don't wear an Apple Watch, you're kind of like a boomer, right? Is the Apple Watch heavy? No, it's super freaking. Why would you want it to be heavy? You're out running in it. You're going out to dinner in it, right? And like me, so I got a smartwatch. I had to get like a metal, because it felt so. Is it the Fossil Q?
No, this is an Apple Watch, but it's got like a similar metal band around it. I couldn't stand the rubber one.
But my point is that it's you ever put on like a Tissot or a Tag Heuer or like you put on like they're heavy.
They're thick. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Eyewear heft was like this weird barometer of quality. So when we came out with the Horizon, this is the same material they use to make baby bottles out of. It's the same material they use for visors and firefighters' face shields. This material weighs half of this material, which weighs half of a standard pair of glasses, half of what titanium weighs, all that.
Yeah.
So when you get it, you pick it up, you're like, wow, this feels cheap because it's light. But you feel that way about like carbon fiber? You don't feel that way about carbon fiber, right? Like you pick up like or titanium, like your golf clubs. Like how much lighter are the drivers now than they used to be? Are you like, this driver's a piece of crap because it's light? No. This is an innovative material that's stronger and lighter, which makes it even better than just being stronger or lighter, right?
Yeah, Connor's about to test it out on his glasses real quick.
Yeah, no,
those are toast. I roast those glasses with one twist.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. So like these glasses, I don't remember exactly how much they were. So I'm like near legally blind without my glasses, so they're very, very thick. But I wanted to ask, like, because they were probably like at least $300, right? Because prescription glasses aren't cheap. Would I be able to get a pair of GamerAdvantage prescription glasses and use them as a substitute for these? Like, would I run into any issues with that?
So we are working on another material that's closer to what you probably. Well, do you know what your prescription is? Like a negative what?
It's like negative 2.5.
Okay, so that's no big deal. So you probably have polycarbonate lenses in there right now, negative 2.5. Don't even worry about it. You're far from legally blind. You do need significant vision correction, right? Like, but it's not. Don't worry, you're normal. Easy. Do that with my eyes closed. Absolute replacement for what you're wearing.
Okay.
Throw those in the garbage. You paid $300 after insurance, likely. Really, those glasses cost you $500 or $600, and you don't see it as a cost because you just pay for your vision insurance. You don't know why, whatever.
Right.
If you don't have vision insurance and you even use like a Warby Parker or Zenni Optical, by the time you get the lens to even and frame to even a similar quality to what we have, you're still not going to have that patented blue light filter in it. So you cannot build another pair of glasses like ours. So I say two things. Whether or not you subscribe to the theory of blue light, it doesn't change the results of our clinical trials. Whether you believe in it or not doesn't change the results of the people we tested. And two, it might just be the best pair of prescription glasses you ever own, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
so we can absolutely do that, no problem, and it would cost you $160 to do it.
Yeah, that's crazy because for me, like, I go to the glasses store like my local eye care place, and the ladies they're nice, but they're older ladies. They're all in their 50s plus, and my thing always is I don't know what looks good on my face. I got a big head. I don't know what looks good, and what they have there is what those older ladies decide to order. And so
Barbara
I went through.
Joyce. Debbie, Barbara, or Joyce, which one? You know what I mean? Like that's
all
my
three.
Yeah, that's my customer. We know them from the family for the last 50 years. So sorry, keep going, but you're good. Go on.
Yeah, I went through. I stood there, and I remember because the last pair I got, like, I was okay with them, but it was like it's the best they have. And so here, like, I made sure to come back later after my test was done with my contacts in, so I can see myself in the glasses. And I went through all 50 pairs that they had for guys. Like, I even tried on some women's ones too. And what I got here was it was the best I could get. And the $300 I paid, like, that was without insurance because my insurance didn't cover because I had already used it for contacts, so I didn't have any more to spend. So it was still $300 for these things, and like they're okay, but they're not doing anything that any other pair of glasses isn't doing. And I remember they offered the like blue light removal option, and they didn't have any details. It was like blue light reduction is what it was called. It was like an extra $80. And I was like, okay, like that might be cool, but how do I know it actually works? Why is it worth $80? I don't know any of that stuff. And so, like, I've got these pair of glasses now, but they do what they do. They don't have any unique functions. They don't block blue light. They don't have, like, attachable sunglasses. And I went to my local place for this. Like, for a lot of people, like my sister, my brother, they all have glasses. That's what we do. They just go there, they get the test, they pick out the glasses, and they get them 3 weeks later and $500 out of pocket for each one of them. And they've got a decent pair of glasses, but they're going to break. My little sister, she's 12. Like, she plays around all the time. She's broken 3 pairs of glasses in the past 2 years alone. And so going for an option like this is something like this isn't just because of not just because it's a podcast, something I'm actively going to look into just because I didn't know this was a thing. I had looked at it as, okay, their gamer glasses, cool. They're much better than the other ones, but now I'm looking at it from, this is a glasses substitute now through a company that's involved in gaming and esports, and they have additive functions, and they're not like ripping me on the price.
Yeah.
I can get this with like a day or two's worth of work, depending on how much money I make. I don't have to save up for 2 or 3 months just to be able to see, which is ridiculous.
I gotta.
Yeah, and you're sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I gotta ask because I have like prescription blue light glasses, but like I do not wear these things at all because I just don't like them, and they're just like they're like Columbia glasses or something. I don't know what they are. And like I was wondering like if I have no idea what the prescription is. Like, is it possible? This might sound ridiculous because I'm not like into the eye industry like you are, but like if I sent these glasses, would you guys be able to know what it was, or do I need like the?
No, you can. You know, it's interesting you asked that question. So for the record, when I joined the optical industry, I didn't know that frames and lenses were like two separate conversations, right? You just assume they happen in like the same building.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's in their lens. All it is an upsell process for the lens company. They say, here's where it starts, $200. You want to add anti-scratch? You definitely need that. Okay, how much is it? $30? Okay, no big deal. $30. All right. Then do you want anti-glare? Like, well, yeah, I probably need. Oh, yeah, you definitely need that. How much is that? Well, that's 90, but you need it. Okay, fine, 90.
Right.
And you
want
just
to be able to see
through that. The website experience is the same when you're ordering eyewear online. It's like you start at 50 and you end at 300 because they're like, do you want this piece of crap plastic lens that doesn't have anything on it? No. Add blue light, 40, this, 30, this, 50. Unfortunately, a trained eye could probably get a pretty good guess, right, of your prescription. The problem is more the pupillary distance. So prescriptions being centered on the eye appropriately. Everybody's so if we all wear the same frame, our eyes are going to land in different spots of the lenses. So while we could probably get close, Jack, there's no way to
it's impossible
authentically do that. But you should be able to call your doctor and just ask for your prescription. It's your prescription. I can teach you to measure the PD at home. It's your prescription. You own it. They owe it to you. They cannot force you to come in to get it. And they leave the PD measurement off so you can't go buy frames online. Like there's like a whole thing in the industry about it because they know you need that to go buy online. So they leave it off. And then when you ask for it, they say, well, listen, we didn't measure for it because you weren't buying glasses. But most of the time they do measure for it in the exam. So you just leave it off the prescription because the only reason you would ever ask for a PD measurement is if you were buying eyewear. So we're trying to work on a program to bring GamerAdvantage to the eye doctors. Rather than us fight against them, if I could bring my product to your eye doctor and you could buy it for the same price through them with the same lens, I'm sure you'd love to give them the business and get my product. So we're going to work on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely need to get new glasses. I can tell you that much.
Get me your prescription.
We'll get it going.
I was curious, since you work in the vision industry, is there actually a difference between a contact vision test and a glasses vision test? Because I got into it with my doctor about this one time.
Yeah, there are differences because you think the contact's sitting on your eye.
Yeah.
So you can't have the same powers if something's sitting on your eye versus if it's 2 inches in front of your eye. So there's definitely a different test. The likelihood is they're doing both in the exam because 80% of contact wearers have a eyewear prescription for when they're in between contacts. If they lose their contacts, if they run out of contacts, if they use dailies, then they usually take them out at night, sleep without their contacts, wake up in the morning, put on their glasses, brush their teeth, put their contacts back in. So the idea of like double dipping you to give you one or the other, a lot of times they will say, oh, you want a contact appointment, it's this much. You want an eyewear appointment, it's this much. And if you want both together, it's even more. It's just trying to get a couple more bucks out of you.
Because that was the problem I had. I had been going to this place since I was like 6 when I first got glasses, and I always just did it all in one appointment. But then 2 years ago, I went in. I'm like, okay, let's get this vision test done. And I'm like, okay, I need to order some contacts. They're like, well, you're going to have to come back for that. I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to have to come back for that? I just took 2 hours out of my work day to come in to get this meeting. And you're telling me this was the glasses test and not the contacts test? Yeah, sorry, sir. You're going to have to schedule another appointment and pay another $70 copay to come back in to get what you actually wanted because they never told me otherwise. And so, like, after that, my commitment to them is minimal, and I even got into it with him. I said, I'm never coming back here again, but I need my prescription. And so I had to call them like 4 or 5 times before they would even email me the prescription. And I remember, like you had said, there was data missing from it. So I had to go back to them and get that. I think it was the PD at the time before I could order whatever I needed from somewhere else. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's just been so simple, that process for people. Consumers haven't been asking questions
Yeah, they just
ever before
yeah,
like they are now,
they
right?
just
They'll call
trust
you
it.
like, your Google review is 1.7 stars. I'm not setting an appointment
Yeah.
at your eye doctor's office, right? Get out of
Yeah.
here.
Right. Um,
Yeah.
so kind of tailing towards the end of this. So I gotta ask, how does someone like a creator, a player, how does someone contact Gamer Advantage, and how do they get incorporated, and how do they potentially become a sponsor of Gamer Advantage?
Listen, here's the thing. Two things. First of all, the people who are already using our product, the conversation is way easier. So I'm not saying you have to buy the product to be considered, but I can understand why. Let's say you own a Corsair keyboard, but you really want to be sponsored by Logitech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then
Yeah.
you might try and get a free Logitech keyboard because, like, there's nothing wrong with your Corsair keyboard. I
Mhm.
guarantee you that 9 out of 10 people aren't wearing the glasses yet. So if better sleep and better health appeals to you, and you've invested thousands of dollars into your setup, and you own 8 pairs of shoes that cost $200 a piece, yet the only thing I mean, that's a sweet champion t-shirt. I can't see it. All I see is your face,
Oh yeah.
and all I see are those
Champion
glasses
t-shirt.
that you
Mhm.
hate, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like that's what I'm seeing first. It's not that much. So the first thing is, if you tried our product, the conversation's way easier. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing is, we are all in on our relationships with our partners. So Natasha has been promoted to partnerships director. We have 3 partnership managers. They're best in class: Isaiah, Travis, and John. Anybody who's talking about Gamer Advantage or represents Gamer Advantage on Twitter, you can reach out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Natasha is the lead dog when it comes to our partnership program. We look at every application, every inquiry, but it might take us 2 to 3 weeks to get to them because we
Right.
get about 50 a day at this point,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool. And
Yeah,
my
that's
team
awesome.
knows they have to answer all of them.
Yeah.
Like, we don't ignore anybody. So they
No.
don't like that. They don't love that because, yeah, I get it. He's got 6 followers. You got to say thanks for reaching
Yeah.
out to us.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mhm.
Of
appreciate
course.
you. So, yeah, try the product if you haven't. I will absolutely give you your money back 100%, no problem, if you're not in love, first and
Mm-hmm.
foremost. Second of all, if you're interested in working with us, there are a lot of creative ways to work together. We're always looking for content, looking for partners, looking for new avenues to educate and inspire as it relates to the blue light conversation.
So apply online. Is that what I'm hearing? Is there a
Yeah, well,
section?
the online, yeah, so it's closed right now
Mm-hmm.
because the inbox is like full, basically.
Right.
The best thing you could do is probably either hit up Isaiah or John on Twitter, John Sen, and Isaiah's GA Cheesy. I mean, those are the guys. Just get the way we'll see it, if you're interested, is get active, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, follow us, enter our giveaways, comment on our tweets,
Yep.
join our streams. We do, like, get active. Like, we gave a partnership to Cold Hollow, who by normal standards really wouldn't have qualified from like a CCV standpoint. He had gifted 120 subs
Wow.
on our Twitter channel. And he is a huge advocate, and his whole family wears Gamer Advantage glasses. I couldn't deny him a code, even if it's never used.
Yeah.
He's such a great representation of our company that I was glad to have him come on board
Mm-hmm.
as a Gamer Advantage family member.
Right.
You know, I got other guys that I pay $1,000 a month to that don't sell anything. So, like, who the hell knows? Like, you never know what
Oh,
you're
man.
capable of doing. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
Mhm. So one question that we like to wrap up and ask everyone all the time is, what does esports mean to you? So I guess particularly it would be, obviously, I know you're very enthusiastic about eyewear, but what does esports mean to you, and what makes you want to do this every day and this be your path?
I think esports, to me, the great thing is that a lot of not so smart people have done a lot of really dumb things that still leave a lot of opportunity in this space. And then on the flip side, there's a lot of really smart people and a lot of really forward-thinking companies and groups out there. So the reason I love this every day is because you could truly be an entrepreneur in the gaming space and pretty much broker any type of relationship or deal you want. Everybody's still very open to these like unconventional ways of doing business together.
Mm-hmm.
So I just see in esports the ability to make it my own. And though while I do believe it needs more structure, its open marketness is what that creates the best challenge, because you feel like it's all on you if you get hurt or not. It's
Mm-hmm.
not somebody else's responsibility. It's on your. I always say you better be really funny or really good at the game. You know what I mean? Like you got to do really entertaining or really good. So we're really good. I'm trying to be entertaining a lot of times, but we're really if I our game, we're good at it. And so I think esports, like I love that it's still very like unregulated kind of right now at this point, because it allows good people to get together and then help form some more appropriate boundaries to what is their expertise in said categories. We don't need somebody who ran football to help us run esports. We need somebody who can learn what football did right and did wrong, but knows this community better than anybody. That's my opinion. You can learn the lessons from what people have done wrong in the past and do it right next time. And that's our chance here in gaming.
Nice. Couldn't have said it any better, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything before we close this out? Is there anything you want to shout out or whatever, new products coming? Anything that you want to last second promote? The socials, obviously, all GamerAdvantage.
Yeah, everything's at GamerAdvantage. Twitch is Gamer_Advantage. If you want to follow our Twitch, I do stream 1 to 2 times a week. I'm usually giving stuff away, educating, just hang out kind of thing. So twitch.tv/gamer_advantage. And then the Horizon, that indestructible frame, it is coming back. We tested it with like 300 or 400 pieces, and it just like disappeared in 3 days. And I think it was that thing, people got it and were like, we never had one returned. So it's pretty cool. So that's coming back, and it should be sometime next month. So
awesome.
Again, though, you own multiple pairs of shoes. So like you could go from, this frame I'm wearing now at GamerAdvantage to a completely different look, and it depends what it is that you're trying to do. If I'm going to Austin, I'm wearing this. But if I'm in Michigan here, I'm wearing this. So that's kind of
awesome.
So just like watches, just like shoes, you can always have more than one.
I gotta ask, is that a shelf on your PC of glasses?
So I put like 3M, these like little hooks that fit perfectly over the bridge.
That's awesome.
So I put these adhesive hooks, and I have all my glasses like stuck on my case of my computer.
That's awesome.
I got my candy, our vitamin. You know, you can just Google lutein and zeaxanthin and then contact me. It's just something that this isn't new.
Yeah.
This is just what we thought old people needed, and now we're like, oh crap, 30-year-olds need it too, because all these things that took people 50 years to have, now it's taken like 5 years because we're so aggressive with our body and our exposure to this kind of stuff. So, but I'm always available. I'm aware that our website doesn't necessarily feel exactly how it feels when I talk or when we talk on social. To get on our website, it needs a little work, and that's what we do. We learn every day, and we make it better. So really browse the website and reach out to us at any time. Our support's 24/7, 365.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you hopping on, Bryan. Thank you for all this informative thing. I know you sold me on the glasses, so you'll be hearing from me soon about that. I think you might have sold Connor as well. So I really appreciate you hopping on, and we'll be sure. Right. I mean, we'll always be talking together. So we'll talk again soon.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, take care, everyone.
All right, see you later. Bye.